Ready? Good evening and welcome to the June 6th, 2024 Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This meeting is being recorded, televised, and viewable on Swiftel Channel 19, ITC Channel 168, or the Brookings County YouTube channel. And I'll call this meeting to order. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Diedrich.
Second.
Who had that? Second by Paulson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Items to be added to the agenda by commission members or staff.
I have nothing, sir.
Nope, just doing our staff report.
Okay. Invitation for citizens to schedule a time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Seeing none. Disclosure of conflicts of interest, relationship to the applicant, or ex parte communication.
I'll have to recuse myself for the Crosswinds jersey.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none. Approval of agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vanderwall. Second by Troyan. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will now convene as the Brookings County Planning and Zoning Commission. The Brookings County Planning Commission is a 9-member commission whose function is to recommend approval or disapproval of land use plans, zoning ordinances, subdivision plats, and amendments thereof to the Brookings County Commission. The commission makes its recommendation based on the adopted comprehensive plan for the physical development of the unincorporated areas of Brookings County. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. After a motion is moved and seconded, it is open for debate. Those supporting the motion shall in turn give their reasons. Those opposing the motion shall then offer their reasons. After everyone has been given a chance to be heard, the commission shall recommend approval or disapproval based on the testimony and information presented. A simple majority vote of a quorum of members of the Planning and Zoning Board in attendance is required to forward a recommendation. Agenda item 2024, Plat 006, Plat of Turtle Bay Addition located in the south one-half of Government Lot 1 in the northeast one-fourth of Section 29, Township 109, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, in a portion of the northeast one-fourth of the southeast one-fourth of Section 29, Township 109, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, and a portion of Government Lot 2 in the southwest one-fourth, Section 28, Township 109 North, Range 50W of the 5th Prime Meridian, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Diedrich. Is there a second? Second by Vanderwall. Richard, would you read staff report?
Yes, 2024 Plat 0, final plat for a 24-acre parcel on the west side of Lake Campbell. The property is in the Lake Park zoning district, and the preliminary plat was named Cedar Bay and was approved on April 2nd, 2024 by this board. The name was changed to Turtle Bay on the final plat, and everything else stayed the same, only the name had changed. And there is a developer's agreement, has been completed and signed at this time to ensure construction of the road to the property will have access and the road would be built. The road would be built to township specifications and maintained by the landowner until an agreement is determined between the township and the landowners for the maintenance of the road to be would take effect by the township. This is the final plat. Right here. This is where the proposed road would be built. Right now is a section line. There is no road there. This is where that developer's agreement comes into effect. This is what the final plat would look like on the beacon map. There, this would be on the west side of Lake Campbell. There's the two parcels. This one on the west side and the smaller one on the east side right here. It was approved and the developer's agreement has been signed and is on file. That's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you, Richard. If the applicant would step forward for questions, and if you have anything to add to Richard. Anybody got any questions at this point? We're good? Okay. We'll skip past that and move to the public hearing portion. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, there's no findings, facts, just call vote, right? Richard, would you call the vote?
Paulson,
Aye.
Erickson, Dietrich,
Aye.
Vanderwall,
Aye.
Jornby,
Aye.
Troyan,
Aye.
Starhog,
Aye.
and Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2024, preliminary plat 005, preliminary plat of lots 1 through 32 of Turtle Bay Edition, located in the south one half of government lot in the northeast 1/4 of section 29, township 109 north, 109 north, range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, in a portion of the northeast 1/4 of the southeast 1/4 of section 29, township 109 north, range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, and a portion of government lot 2 in the southwest 1/4 section 28, township 109 north, range 50W of the 5th prime meridian, all in Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Troyan,
Second.
second by Paulson. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2024 has submitted a preliminary plat for the 24-acre development for 32 lots on the west side of Lake Campbell. The property is in the Lake Park zoning district, and the final plat for this legal description was on tonight's meeting agenda. The applicant has a purchase agreement with the current landowner, and the applicant and the landowner have been working on the project together to get to this phase. The preliminary plat meets the requirements. Lot size, drainage easements are also shown. The lots are a minimum of 20,000 square feet with 17 lakeside lots and 15 non-lakefront lots. The preliminary plat will need the Planning Commission's approval and would be contingent on the sale of the property to the applicant. The copy of the deed transferring ownership to the applicant would need to be provided to the development office to be added to the file. The developer's agreement has been signed and is on file in the office at this time, and for the construction of the road to ensure that it would be built. And the road would be built to township specifications and maintained by the landowner until an agreement as determined between the township and the future landowner for the maintenance of the road would take effect. The road inside the Turtle Bay Addition would remain a private road, with maintenance of the road maintenance of that road by the property owner, lot owner, road district, or homeowners association. Here's the preliminary plat. This would be the coming into the road, into the development cul-de-sac turnaround right here, going up to the end, turnaround lane, lakefront lots, all meeting the setback requirements, side setback of 8 feet, lakeside setback of 75 feet, rear lot of 25 feet from the road. So it all meets that. There is some drainage easements going across there. Utility easements are along as noted, along the back sides and some of the front sides of the lots. It meets the subdivision requirements of the county. And that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening if you have any further questions for him.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any questions for the applicant from the board at this time? Do you have any? Tim? Okay. Then we'll move to the public hearing portion of this. Is there anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you call the vote?
Bartley,
Aye.
Paulson,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Dietrich,
Aye.
Vanderwall, Jornby,
Aye.
Troyan,
Aye.
Storhog,
Aye.
and Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, we will now convene as the Brookings County Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a 9-member board which has the power to hear requests for variances, conditional uses, and appeals from the non-ministerial decisions of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of 2/3 vote of the full board membership of the board, 6 votes is necessary for approval of a variance or an appeal of the zoning officer. The concurring vote of a simple majority of those board members present and voting is necessary for approval of a conditional use permit. In accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, we require a motion to approve the request before it can be debated. As a matter of policy, all motions are made in the positive. The board, under specific powers granted to it by the state, shall authorize variances from the zoning requirements where special conditions existing on the land will result in an unnecessary hardship for the applicant. Financial disadvantage to the property owner does not constitute proof of an unnecessary hardship. Agenda item 2024 variance 012. Gary Moen has made an application 2024 variance 012 the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a variance Article 4 District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A Agricultural Land District, Section 4.01.05 Area Regulation Easements, Single-family residence minimum rear yard. The property is described as lots 11 and 12 Country Club Edition in the southeast 1/4 of Section 28, Township 109 North, Range 50W, Madera Township, located at 46877 Almond Corner, Brookings, South Dakota 57006. Is there a motion? Motion by Vanderwall,
Second.
second by Dietrich. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2024 variant 012, Gary Moen has applied for variance to extend an existing deck walkway and to connect it to another existing deck. The previous owner was granted a variance in 2004 to build the residence with the deck 20 feet from the rear lot line to decrease a drainage issue that was on the lot. The house with the existing walkway and deck is 35 feet from the rear property line. The applicant would like to extend the existing walkway and deck at the same distance from the rear property line to connect it with the second deck in the north. He would be enlarging the northwest deck and connecting it to the walkway. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on May 21st and 28th, 2024, and letters were sent to the adjoining landowners, Madera Township Chairman and Clerk, and the Brookings County Highway Department. This is the variance application. This is the site plan. Coming out along this is the existing deck extended out to the west, to the northwest, until this deck here, where the two meet to get to the size that he wants. And then this deck does not need a variance because it does meet the rear setback requirements. So, but when you connect them together, you have to add the whole pieces of the puzzle together. So this is, after I was out and took pictures and measured it and got a little better picture of the area. This is the house. This is the retaining wall right here. This is the existing deck that would come out at that same 35 feet over to where this is, and then it would over to this larger deck right here, be about 12 feet if I measured a bit right from point A to point B. That would go extend farther to the north, and this whole area would be deck right in this area. This is an existing stoop or deck right here, coming off the back door of the house there. Same way with this, is coming off the door of the garage, coming over here along here. This is the beacon map of the property. This is just the front and the northwest side of the front of the house there. This is the back side. This is 35 feet from here back to the white stakes back there. This would be the part that you would like to extend out. A little better picture here. This is the two decks he would like to, this is the one he would like to extend. This is the one he would like to enlarge and then connect the two together. So it's one, and go from one door to the other. There's more pictures of the deck. This is from the golf course side looking there, the white stakes. About 1 foot to the east of that is the property line. This is looking towards the north. This is where approximately where the, coming out 12 feet in the northwest corner of the, enlarging this deck, and this would be the two here. This would be approximately where the two decks intersect right here at this block. So that's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening.
Thank you. The applicant, do you have anything to add to Richard's report, or is it good? No, nothing to add. Did a lot better job than I did. Okay, since he has nothing to add, we'll go to the public hearing portion. Is anybody in the audience that is for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that is opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Seeing and hearing none, Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, variance 2024, variance 012, an application for variance have as a Brookings County Board of Adjustment. Copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Gary Moen regarding the following real property. Lots 11 and 12, Country Club addition in the southeast 1/4 of Section 28, Township 109 North, Range 50 West, Madera Township. Located at 46877 Amon Corner, Brookings, South Dakota 57006. After due notice, a public hearing having been held on the application on the 6th day of June 2024. Number one, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby findings that the strict application of the zoning ordinance would produce undue hardship, that such hardship is not shared generally in other properties in the same district, in the same vicinity, and such authorization of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property, and the character of the district will not be changed by the granting of the variance. That the granting of such variance is based upon reasons demonstrable exceptional hardship as distinguished from variations for the purpose of convenience, profit, and caprice. Number two, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the condition or situation of the property concerned or the intended use of the property is not so general or recurring in nature as to make reasonable, practicable the formulation of the general regulation to be adopted as an amendment to the zoning ordinance. Number three, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the written application of the petitioner demonstrates that special conditions and circumstances exist which are procured to the land, structure, or buildings in the same district. That literal interpretations of the provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of the ordinance. That the special conditions and circumstances do not result from actions of the applicant. And that the granting of the variance requested will not confer the applicant any special privileges that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, structures, or buildings in the same district. Number four, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding that the reasons set forth in the application justify the granting of the variance, and that the variance is a minimum variance that will make possible and reasonable use of the land, building, or structures, that granting of the variance will be in harmony with the general purpose and the intent of the Brookings County zoning ordinance, and will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. Number five, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this variance upon the following special conditions or safeguards. A, previous owner was granted a variance in 2014 to build a residence with a deck 20 feet from the rear property line to decrease the drainage issue on the lot. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least 2/3 vote of its full membership, hereby grants the above petitioner a variance for the above described real property as follows. To extend an existing deck walkway approximately 12 feet to the north, 35 feet from the rear property line, and connect it to an existing deck to the northwest corner that is going to be enlarged. And the second deck meets the rear setback requirements. This variance is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the conditions and safeguards in 5 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. And for proof, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the terms of this ordinance. If this variance is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid, dated the 6th day of June, 2024.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of the facts are followed, so I concur with the findings of the facts.
Thank you. Richard, would you call the vote?
Yes, Erickson.
Aye.
Dietrich.
Aye.
Jornby.
Aye.
Troyan.
Aye.
Storhog.
Aye.
Bartley.
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
And Ford.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Moving on, agenda item 2024 CU 003, Crosswinds Jerseys LLC by Stephen Temperley has made an application 2024 CU 003 to the Brookings County Board of Adjustment for a conditional use permit, Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01A, Agricultural Land District Requirements, Chapter 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations. The property is described as the south 1,610 feet of the west 1,120 feet excluding public road right-of-way in Section 15, Township 109 North, Range 48W of the east, and the east 300 feet of the south 1,610 feet of the west 1,420 feet, and the southeast 1/4 excluding public road right-of-way in Section 15. Township 109 North, Range 48W, and the south 1,610 feet of the southeast 1/4, excluding the west 1,420 feet and excluding the north 17 feet of the south 50 feet and excluding the public road right-of-way in Section 15, Township 109 North, Range 48W, Parnell Township, located at 48152 South Dakota Highway 13, Elkton, South Dakota 57026. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Paulson. Second by Vanderwall. Richard, would you read the staff report?
Yes, 2024 CU 003, Crosswind Jerseys by LLC by Stephen Temple. Expansion of his Class A dairy, confined animal feeding operation, CAFO, that was permitted on June 4th, 2023 for 2,300 head, which is 3,220 animal units of mature dairy cows and 50 head, which is 20 animal units of baby calves, for a total of 3,240 animal units. The expansion would add 320 head of calves, which equals 320 animal units. The total number of animal units would be 2,300 head of dairy cattle, which is 2,389 head animal units for mature cows, and 370 calves, for a total of animal units of 3,659. The expansion would add 3 new calf buildings on the north side of the feed pad, and the expansion is less than 10% of the animal units, and the required setback separation distance is exempt. The applicant and the landowner within the setback area have both signed a Brookings County Confined Animal Feeding Operation setback exemption form and is on file in the applicant's file. The required setback separation distance for a Class A CAFO is 2,640 feet from a residence. The Brookings County Development Office has had no complaints regarding the operation. The engineer's report is a separate report that was attached to this report, just due to the size of the document. The nutrient management plan shows the applicant has adequate acres for the increase in animal units. The applicant has an existing well for providing water to the farm, and rural water is available if the need arises, but has not been used. The location of the proposed building is not located in Zone A of the wellhead or Zone B, the remaining area of this shallow and superficial aquifer of the first occurrence of the aquifer materials map of Brookings County. And the property is not in the floodplain. The applicant has included the information per Article 5, Chapter General Requirements for Chapter 22, 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation. Section 5.2205, concentrated animal feeding operation control requirements, number 10, suggested minimum requirements, minimum application requirements. These have all been included. I'll let you read that for yourself down there. With his application, the zoning office has reviewed the documents and made a site visit to the proposed location. Public notices were published in the Brookings Register on May 21st and 28th, 2024, and the Elkin Record on May 23rd and 30th. Letters were sent to the adjoining landowners of Parnell Township Chairman and Clerk, South Dakota Department of Transportation, the Brookings County Highway Department, and the Brookings Dual Rural Water. There's the applicant's conditional use application. Here is the site plan. This is the feed pad I was talking about right here. This is the proposed, the main parlor and other buildings are down over here. This is where the 3 new proposed buildings for the calves would be located, just to the east of the sediment pond, sediment nutrient pond there. This is a copy of the setback exception agreement signed by both parties. This is the beacon map. There's several different parcels in regarding to with this piece. And this would be the area where the new barns would be located, right in there. This is looking off from the main driveway off to the east, good clear view. This is looking towards the north, up towards the parlor and the loafing barns. This is looking towards the west. This is on the west side of the milking parlor and office area. This is looking up towards the feed area on the second driveway. Location of the barn, the feed mill, feed room right here. This is the feed pad. This is north of the feed pad where the proposed calf barns would be built. This is just looking on the east side, looking back towards the west on that. And then this is the same picture looking back towards the southwest, back towards the building site and farm site right there. That's all that I have, and the applicant is here this evening, so.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any questions? Do you have anything to add to Richard's report? Okay.
I guess I don't really have much to add. We feel that we have a good reputation with our neighbors. We've been in business for over 20 or a little bit over 20 years. And my brother and I are separating off the business. And so we feel in order to remain successful in what we do that we have to raise our own baby calves. So it'd be about 360 total calves that we plan to raise from weaning to about 7.5 months of age.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, for the record, that was Stephen Temper.
Yes,
Temperley.
I'm Stephen Temperley.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll move to the public hearing portion of this. Is there anybody in the audience that's for this? Seeing and hearing none, is there anybody in the audience that's opposed to this? Seeing and hearing none, I'll now close the public portion of the hearing. Is there any additional comments or questions from members of the board? Hearing none, you can go back to your seat, I guess. Richard, would you read the findings of facts?
Yes, application, conditional use permit 2024 CU 003, an application for a conditional use permit have been filed with the Brookings County Zoning Commission. Acting as the Board of Adjustment, a copy of the application being attached here too. Such application being made by Crosswind Jerseys by Stephen Temperley regarding the following real property. The south 1,610 feet of the west 1,120 feet except public road right-of-way in section 15, township 109 north, range 48 west. And the east 300 feet of the south 1,610 feet of the west 1,420 feet in the southeast 1/4, except public road right-of-way in section 15. Township 109 North, range 48 West, in the south 1,610 feet of the southeast 1/4, except the west 1,420 feet, and except the north 17 feet of the south 50 feet, and except public right-of-way in section 15, Township 109 North, range 48 Township, located at 48152 South Dakota Highway 13, Elkton, South Dakota, 57026. After due notice, a public hearing has been held on the application on the 6th day of June 2024. Number one, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment hereby finding that it is empowered to grant such conditional use under the following sections of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. Article 4, District Requirements, Chapter 4.01, A, Agricultural District, Agricultural Land District. Section 4.104, Conditional Uses. Number 6, Class A, B, and C, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations, and Article 5, General Requirements. Chapter 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations, and further finding that the granting of the conditional use will not adversely affect the public interest. Number 2, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finding and certifies that the following specific rules governing the conditional use requested have been compiled. Article 5, General Requirements, Chapter 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations, Section 5.2.05, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation Control Requirements, Number 10, Suggested Minimum Application Information. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment Zoning Board has considered and incorporate these findings with Article 5, General Requirements, Chapter 5.22, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operations, Section 5.2205, Concentrated Animal Feeding Operation Control Requirements, Number 9. Standards for conditional use found on Article 5, page 30 and 31 of the Brookings County zoning ordinance, all permitted CAFOs in Brookings County. Number 3, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further finds that satisfactory provisions and arrangements have been made concerning the following where applicable. A, entrance and exits to the property, proposed structures therein, in particular reference to automotive, pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control and requirements in case of fire or catastrophe. Will use the existing entrance and exit on South Dakota Highway 13, a South Dakota Department of Transportation Blacktop State Road. B, off-street parking loading areas were required with particular attention to items in A above and the economic, noise, glare, and other effects of the conditional use on adjoining properties and properties generally in the district. No on-street parking allowed. C, utilities, refuge, and service areas with reference to locations, availability, and compatibility. Dumpster service for garbage disposal. D, screening and reference to type, dimensions, and character. None stated. F, signs, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic safety, economic effect, and compatibility and harmony of the properties in the district. Existing signage allowed and any regulatory signs required for livestock production. F, required yards or other open spaces. None stated. G, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. The 2016 comprehensive plan met for the agricultural district. D, or H, roads providing access to the property are adequate to meet the transportation demands of the proposed conditional use. The Board of Adjustment may require the applicant to enter in a written contract with any affected township or other governmental unit regarding the upgrading and continued maintenance of roads for the conditional use as requested prior to the issuance of the conditional use. South Dakota Highway 13 is a South Dakota Department of Transportation blacktop road and meets the conditional use road requirements. I, required notifications to law enforcement or fire department. None stated. J, any inspections required? Any inspections required by state officials for livestock production and any building permit inspections. Number 4, the Brookings County Board of Adjustment further determines and conditions this conditional use upon the following additional special conditions or safeguards. The South Dakota Department of Agricultural and Natural Resources CAFO permit required. B, best management practice for manure to be applied by injection at the minimum of 4 to 6 inch depth. C, Brookings County Confined Animal Feeding Operation Setback Exception Form, signed, dated, and on file. The Brookings County Board of Adjustment, by at least a majority vote of its full members present, hereby grants the petitioner above a conditional use for the above described real properties as follows. Expansion of their existing conditional use 2013 CU 004 for a Class A dairy for 2,300, that was approved for 2,300 head, 3,220 animal units of mature dairy cows, and 50 head, 20 animal units of dairy calves, for a total of 3,240 animal units. The expansion would add 320 head of calves, which is 320 animal units. The total animal units would be 2,300 head of mature dairy cattle, which is 3,289 animal units, 370 calves, which is 370 units, for a total of 3,659 animal units. The animal units for mature dairy cows change from 1.4 to 1.43, and the animal units for calves under 400 pounds change from 0.0 to 1 per head to 1.0 per Brookings County zoning ordinance update 2024 CU 001, which took effect May 2nd, 2024. This conditional use permit is specifically conditioned upon initial and continued compliance with all the requirements and conditions in 3 and 4 above, and upon compliance with all applicable provisions of the Brookings County zoning ordinance. If approved, the Brookings County zoning director is authorized to issue any required building permits for construction consistent with the requirements of this conditional use. If this conditional use is not used within 3 years of the date granted, it shall be invalid. Dated the 6th day of June, 2024.
Are there any additions or corrections to the findings of facts?
Mr. Chair, I find that this application meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance as long as the findings of the facts are followed. So I concur with the findings of the facts.
Thank you, Mr. Paulson. Richard, would you call the vote?
Yes. Vanderwall. Jornby. Troyan.
Aye.
Storhog.
Aye.
Bartley.
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
Erickson. And Ford.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on, department reports.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, weather update, the National Weather Service is calling for a drier period coming up. Looks like the temperatures up to Monday is going to be still close to 70, but after Tuesday and it's going to go into the 80s. Don't know how high the 80s yet, but so there's not a lot of rain. Looks like the rain chances are all less than 50% for the next foreseeable future. So good luck out there. Zoning ordinance, you will be seeing a zoning ordinance update. We've noticed a couple issues with the zoning ordinance that we approved. So Richard and Ray Lynn are going through them and doing some language on the updates, which I believe we'll be able to hear in July, but I'll let Richard talk about that, and that's all I have, sir.
Yes, we're working on that as we speak. We've got started on it. I found a section had been mistakenly omitted, so we're going to add that section back into the ordinance and have that ready for the July meeting. There will be pretty strong possibility of having a joint meeting with the City Planning Commission also on July 2nd. That night, we're still waiting. Pretty sure the application will be here, but that'll be to be determined as far as that goes. We're just giving you a heads up for that. So otherwise, that's all that I can think of at this time. So.
And I see no need for an executive session tonight, sir.
Well, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Diedrich. Second by Bartley. All in favor? Meeting adjourned.